Ever notice your dog slowing down and having health issues and wonder, what can I do to make them better? Well, my friend, add Rough Greens to your dog's food for 90 days and I guarantee you'll see changes that will amaze you. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, inventor of Rough Greens here, and I invite you to give your pup the Rough Greens 90-day challenge. In the first 30 days, you'll see shinier coats and increased energy. By day 60, your dog will have a stronger immune system, less shedding, improved joint function, all due to the live nutrients that you've added to their diet. And at 90 days, better digestion, reduced inflammation, improved heart health, and you may even have reduced their cancer risk. Fetch your dog a free Jumpstart trial bag today. Go to tryroughgreens.com. Use promo code TRYROUGH. That's TRYRUFF. Go to tryroughgreens.com. Use promo code TRYROUGH. You discover the shipping. You don't have to change your dog's food to improve your dog's health. Just add a scoop of Rough Greens.
Cows that fight crime. We're going to talk about that and a dumb crook who ended up in a nudist colony. And we're going to give you some tips on how to jog safely. This and so much more right here on today's Charlie Show. Well, hello and welcome to the Charlie Crime Buster Show, and we have a great program lined up today. A lot of interesting stuff. We're going to, first of all, share with you on any given week. Now we're on the broadcast each weekly. We're giving you some crime stories that happen during the week. And the difference that we make is that we always try to give you some safety tips along with the stories. So we're going to be talking about a lot of that and also some good tips, some very good tips. A lot of you are joggers out there. You like to exercise. You like to run. And, of course, this week we heard some very distressing news of one jogger who has been missing for some time. Unfortunately, she was found, and she was found dead. We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more on today's Charlie program. First of all, we'd like to begin our program today with this crazy, crazy story out of the Orlando, Florida area. A guy down there just went berserk. He was a doctor, believe it or not, and it happened, Jeffrey Epstein. He arrived at the ticket counter around 6 a.m. this past week for a 6:24 a.m. flight to Philadelphia. Now, this is according to a rep for American Airlines. He found that the flight that he had he wasn't there in time, or something other happened to the flight, so he was rebooked for the next available flight. Now, according to news reports, Epstein then became irate at the airline staffers as well as at other passengers and children in the area. This is what the spokesperson said, so they went ahead and summoned law enforcement. Now, when police arrived on the scene, the Lakeland man began to scream and foam at the mouth. And then he went off on the officers in a cursing meltdown. One time he said, "This guy's trying to provoke me. Do you have training, genius?" Epstein taunts an officer on the footage captured by a bystander. He said, "There's no alcohol. You want to test me? Want me to count backwards?" he asks as he throws up his arms. Now, he's being a really, to me, it's like a little kid in a shop, who throws a temper tantrum. That's exactly what he is, only he's an adult. He's a doctor. He should know better. He's doing this right out in the public. He's not listening to police officers. He's impeding the operation of the airlines. He's doing all this in the middle of everything. He says, "Come and arrest me. They're arresting me. They're arresting me. They're really de-escalating things," he yells as he throws himself on the ground. Now, he throws himself on the ground, and he brings 3 law enforcement officials down with him. He says, quote, "Oh, my God, I can't believe they're doing this." And then he's handcuffed, and he continues shouting, "I'm not resisting. You're treating me like a..." And then there's a curse word, black person. The man later was charged with battery, resisting arrest, trespassing, disorderly conduct, and get this, I know this doesn't shock you, he also had drugs, possession of marijuana less than 20 grams. Now, since returning home after bonding out of jail, now he's got a way that he wants to try to rationalize his erratic behavior. And he says that he did this whole thing to, quote, prove a point. He says, if you're going to do this to a white doctor who's 59 years old for doing nothing, then why would black people trust you? Well, first of all, he wasn't doing anything. He was, he was breaking the peace. He was interrupting the flow of business for this airline. He was scaring people all around him. He was acting like a maniac. He resisted police. He would not follow police commands, and he was arrested for that. And how dare him try to say that his actions in any way could be compared to some wonderful people in this country, unfortunately, who have been abused by those who would abuse authority. That does happen in this country, and it's inexcusable. You know that I'm a law and order guy, but I do not uphold anybody who would abuse anybody's rights, particularly their civil rights. And for this doctor to compare what he went through with his temper tantrum to wonderful people who have been abused by people in authority, it's outrageous. How dare him? How dare him even think that it's anything near that? It wasn't near that, and it's a slap in the face to people who have suffered from abuse. He did not suffer from abuse. He got exactly what was coming to him. And I hope he gets a really stiff sentence for this ridiculous behavior at the Orlando airport. So here's a doctor throwing a temper tantrum. Well, also on the program, we always try to bring you three things: news you can use, we bring you cybercrime, and we bring you crazy crook stories. Now it's time to switch to the cybercrime. Now, I brought this up on the program before, but we always need to continually emphasize this because it's happening more and more. Criminals now have a new trick to exploit keyless doors, hijacking the signal from the real owner's device to unlock locks. They start cars, and they even do more than that. Now, Eric Ellis, he's like millions of Americans and using a key fob to unlock his car when in close range. But as this report goes on to say, it's far from secure. In a surveillance video, Ellis watched two people. Two people walked into his driveway, and they unlocked his vehicle without the fob. One of them tried to open up other cars, but that didn't work. He goes on to say, everything from the glove box is sitting in the passenger seat, so that's when I knew somebody had been in there. Well, it turns out the thieves only got away with some of the workout gear in the car, but police are seeing more and more cases where thieves now can open vehicles without a key. You see, what's happening with all this new technology that's out there is there are those that are out there trying to defeat it. Roger Morris of the National Insurance Crime Bureau says that some cases criminals are using an amplifying device that grabs the signal from the fob inside the house and then amplifies it to another device, and that allows the doors to be open. Now, pay attention. A lot of you have these fobs that you use to get in and out of your cars. A lot of us do. Now, to prevent this trick, people can keep a fob inside a metal box, even wrap it in aluminum foil, or some sort of bag, a pouch designed to protect electronics from signal interference. I once read one time that you can also take it and put it in your refrigerator. You can keep it right there in your refrigerator. In other words, if you can block the signal, then the radio frequency of the device communicating to the vehicle, then you can block the effectiveness of these. That's what Morse says. But now, get this, crooks have also figured out how to steal a fob signal while you're using it. That's right. In a demonstration, a driver getting out of his car is using the fob to lock it. Morris uses a relay box to intercept the fob's code, while that is immediately sent then to a second man with a small box that now acts as the vehicle's fob. Together they unlock the car, open the door, start the car, and drive away. Well, this is what it all boils down to, folks. Cars, according to Morris, are basically computers on wheels. Did you hear that? They're basically computers on wheels, and anything that can defeat the computer system on the car is really popular among car thieves. That's what Morris says. He goes on to say that automakers are aware of this hacking technology, and they're continually working on improvements to improve it. In the meantime, if you have a keyless fob, when you're getting out of the car, look around. Somebody might be trying to steal your signal. And better than that, when you go in, wrap it in aluminum foil, put it in some sort of metal box, or put it in the refrigerator. Keep your car safe, because every day around 2,000 cars are stolen in the United States. Hey, we got some more cybercrime news for you. I like this. This is coming out of Gainesville, Florida. Patrick Traynor, he's a cybersecurity expert. He was in New York back in February, working with police to help identify a way to detect credit card skimmers on ATMs. Then while he was there, now get this, while he was there back in February, he got a financial fraud alert. His own information, this cybersecurity expert, was stolen while he was in town. He goes on to say it wasn't the first time. In 5 years he had his personal information stolen by credit card skimmers. That's those devices illegally installed on ATMs, gas station pumps, that skim the consumer credit card number. He said it's happened half a dozen times. And here's a guy who has 15 years of experience in the field of information security. Now, he goes on to say, if I can't protect myself reliably, who possibly can? Now, Traynor, a computer information science and engineering professor at the University of Florida, he goes on to say, after 3 years of study, Traynor and 2 Florida graduate students. Now, get this. I love this. I love the title of this invention. Get this. You've heard of the Grim Reaper? Well, they have actually invented a device called the Skim Reaper. Not the Grim Reaper, the Skim Reaper. It's a credit card thin gadget, slides into the card reader's slots, can easily and quickly detect if an ATM or gas pump has been compromised. Now, the New York Police Department, they're testing the Skim Reaper now, and they're having some early success in its effort to rid the streets of these terrible devices. The AP was given an exclusive access to the lab where the Skim Reaper was made, as well as NYPD tests. Now, the Secret Service, they say that skimmers steal more than $1 billion from United States consumers annually. Money that sometimes will find its way into organized crime. You see, most credit card skimmers, they work by installing an extra read head, they call it, inside or outside a machine. And this extra head allows criminals to make a copy of the card's information, just as the consumer swipes it. Now, the Skim Reaper was built to detect when one or more of these read heads is present. So it will detect it, and then it'll send a signal. Now, they're still working on this, and they've got a lot of work to do with it, but we are seeing some real good progress with this Skim Reaper. Right now, the new technology, they're trying to get it to where it can be used on a cost-effective basis. And if they can do that, it could put skimmers out of the business. That'd be great, wouldn't it? It would save people tremendous amounts of money and aggravation. That's what Wiseman says. Now, right now, it costs about $50 to make each Skim Reaper, but the team's working daily to get that number down. He goes on to say there's no greater feeling than feeling the work you're doing has a wide-ranging impact. Well, we know that it would if it could stop those skimmers. Be careful when you're using your card all the time, folks. Skimmers are out there. Look at those machines. See if you feel that it's been messed with. See if you can suspect that maybe a skimmer is there. Or better yet, just go inside, pay there in the store, and get a little exercise while you're at it. Who knows? It might not hurt you to walk a little bit, right? Might not hurt to walk a little bit. Hey, here's a good one. We got cows trained here in Florida, folks. In Florida, we have cows trained to fight crime. That's right. Happened just right up the road from where I lived. It was an alleged carjacking suspect. Almost got away from Florida police, only to be thwarted, get this, by a herd of cows. Herd of cows, that's right. Police said the driver and a passenger in a stolen Subaru SUV, they fled on foot after the car crashed in a ditch up in Sanford, Florida. This is according to WKMG-TV. Another passenger remained at the scene. That passenger was arrested. Now, the driver was identified as Jamie Michael Young. He was apprehended with the help of a Sanford police dog. But the other passenger, Jennifer Kaufman, she fled to a nearby field, and she was corralled, get this, by a head of cattle. That's right, a head of cattle. In a video released by the Seminole County Sheriff's Office, which assisted in the incident, Kaufman can be seen running through a field with more than 24 cows in pursuit. 24 cows chasing this lady who was a part of a carjacking team. He says, if you see the large group of cows, they're literally following her and chasing her. That's what the officer said in an interview, and at least one cow got very close to the woman. Now, eventually the cows, they herded her to the edge of the field, where she climbed through what appears to be a fence, only to be immediately arrested. Immediately arrested. Yep, we even train cows here in Florida to catch crooks. Thought you would like that story. I certainly did. Had a lot of fun telling it. All right, here's something we always also try to, on the program, we tried not only to give you some cybercrime and some cybercrime tips, and also try to share with you some crazy crook stories, and we got some doozies today. But we also try to, from time to time, mention to you what we call a courageous citizen, and boy, do we have a courageous citizen story today. Happened this past week. This is the DA. Here are the headlines. Teen justified in shooting of mom's abusive boyfriend. Late father taught her to safely handle guns. This comes to us from Raleigh, North Carolina. It's an AP story. A teenage girl drew upon gun training from her late father to fatally shoot an abusive boyfriend who was strangling her mother earlier this month in North Carolina. That's what a prosecutor said this past Friday. Now, Stephen Kelly, 46, was found dead by deputies who responded to the call about a shooting at the house in North Carolina foothills. That was west of Charlotte. He was shot twice and killed by his girlfriend's 15-year-old daughter after he attacked the woman and threatened to kill her and her 3 children in the home they all shared there at the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office. That's what the Sheriff's Office said, rather. Now, the children's late father had taught the girl and her siblings how to shoot and safely handle guns. Did you get that? One of our programs we talked about, is it time for you to arm yourself? And we mentioned the fact that a lot of parents will take the time to show children, to respect guns. I know I was very fortunate that I had a father at a very early age who took me hunting and taught me gun safety and taught me always to respect a weapon and to treat every weapon as a loaded weapon. Those are important lessons. Unfortunately, many children do not have that kind of training, and sometimes they'll go out and play at a friend's house, see a gun, have no idea, think it's just a toy to play with, and tragedy comes. Well, this girl was different. Her father taught her and her siblings how to shoot and safely handle guns, which allowed her to effectively use, now get this, the single-action Colt .45 caliber revolver. This is one that had to be cocked between shots. This is what District Attorney Ted Bell said. Now, it goes on and says that the late father had taught the children how to shoot. Bell said that the mother had hidden guns around the house for protection when the boyfriend started acting dangerously in recent weeks. Bell said he believed the revolver was one of those firearms. But he also said the boyfriend had also kept guns in the house. Now, Bell said that his office determined the shooting was justified. No charges warranted against the children. It was absolutely clear, this is a quote from Bell, it was absolutely clear that the mom's life was in jeopardy, as well as potentially the children. And so the situation, we absolutely support the right of somebody to defend themselves and others with deadly force. And he goes on to say, I commend the 15-year-old for doing a very difficult thing by saving her mom and siblings' life and showing amazingly amount of maturity. I'll go on to say not only amazing amount of maturity, but amazing amount of courage. She, this 15-year-old who's not mentioned name-wise because she's a juvenile, this is our courageous citizen of the week. Courageous citizen of the week who realized that lives were at stake and she shot this abusive boyfriend. Now, this guy was a convicted felon, originally from Indiana, with a history. Now, get this. Most often there is a history of domestic violence accusations. Kelly, the woman, and her 3 children, they'd recently moved from North Carolina from Indiana. So there's our courageous citizen of the week, this 15-year-old girl who was willing to take a weapon and defend her life and the life of her mother and siblings. All right. You heard about a bite out of crime? This gives a new meaning to a bite out of crime. This happened up in Alaska. A man defended off a robber who was allegedly attempting to steal his bicycle. Yep. He fended him off, but get this, by biting off part of his nose. That's what police said. The victim and his wife are sleeping inside their motorhome when 38-year-old Robert Russell allegedly tried to take the bicycle from the rack on top of the vehicle. This is according to a report from news organization KTTU up in Anchorage. The victim confronted the robber, who allegedly stabbed him with a sharp instrument, and then the robber bit the victim on the arm. That's what the news station reported. Now, the owner then, he retaliated by biting off, quote, a large chunk of Russell's nose. Both men were treated at the hospital. Yeah, Russell reportedly was charged with second-degree burglary. Wow. Now, folks, remember, one of the things we talked about was self-defense, and then when it gets down to home invasions, we did a whole program on home invasions. And if you'd like to pick up any of these programs, the program on home invasion, the program about is it time to arm yourself, feel free to go to our website, charliecrimebuster.com, charliecrimebuster.com. You can see a host of stories there that can help you with news you can use, with tips that you can. But what I was getting to in this particular story is if it comes down to your life and somebody else's life, be willing to do drastic things. Be willing to do drastic things. We're going to talk about that a little later when we talk about jogging. Hey, somebody else that's in the news, remember Joseph Angelo? Yeah, D'Angelo. Joseph D'Angelo, 72 years of age. Well, he was charged again with another murder, a murder of a college professor, Claude Snelling, with special allegation of the use of the firearm. That's according to the Tulane County, California District Attorney's Office. Numerous other crimes, including burglary, attempted murder of a peace officer, allegedly committed by D'Angelo during the 1970s in Tulane County. They can't be filed because of the statute of limitations. But now D'Angelo, he's already been charged in 12 killings, including the 1978 deaths of Katie and Brian. Police say he committed a series of killings, rapes, and other crimes. This was attributed to the so-called Golden State Killer, also known as the East Area Rapist and the original Night Stalker. Snelling was shot and killed as he charged at a masked man who was trying to abduct his daughter from his home. Tulane County District Tim Ward said Snelling died trying to save his daughter from an intruder in the early morning hours. He saved his daughter, became a hero to her that night in the community. Now, the community was terrorized during that 18-month crime spree, linked to a man dubbed the Vasilla Ransacker. Also, his killing was linked to other killings in the area. Science and DNA played a role in a good old-fashioned dedicated police work. All combined together got D'Angelo. You see, D'Angelo, he was working as a police officer in one of the small cities up there from May 1973 to August 1976. That's the period during the Ransacker cases were occurring at the time of the Snelling homicide. If you want to know more about this, we did an entire program on the Golden State Killer, and again, you can find it right back at our website, charliecrimebuster.com, charliecrimebuster.com. Well, we're getting ready to get down to our main story and give you our main tips. We shared with you about the Skim Reaper, the cyber crime. We had that going for us, about this doctor who had this terrible temper tantrum. The guy who had a bite out of crime, and then of course the Golden State Killer. We'd love for you to check out that program and other programs we have on our website, charliecrimebuster.com. Now, probably the saddest news on any given week we found this week particularly was from Mexico. And this man, of course, was living in the United States, appears now illegally. And he's the one that confessed to kidnapping college student Mollie Tibbetts. Mollie, of course, caught all of our attention and really got to the hearts of millions of Americans as we were trying to find her. She was missing after she was running in her small Iowa hometown. Well, this man now, he confesses that he killed her, dumped her body in a cornfield. That's what authorities said Tuesday. Christian Rivera, 24 years of age, was arrested and charged with first-degree murder in the death of 20-year-old Tibbetts. whose July 18th disappearance set off a massive search involving state and federal authorities. Riviera led investigators early this past Tuesday to a body believed to be Tibbetts in a cornfield about 12 miles southeast from Brooklyn, Iowa, where Tibbetts was last seen running. Rick Ron, a Division of Criminal Investigation Special Agent, said, I can't speak about the motive. I can just tell you that it seemed that he followed her, seemed to be drawn to her on that particular day, and for whatever reason, he chose to abduct her. That's what Ron told reporters at a news conference outside the sheriff's office, where Riviera has been held on a $1 million cash-only bond. So thank God he's not going anywhere. That brought me to what I wanted to share on today's program particularly, and that is, it seems like a lot of times we read these situations where people are out jogging, running, particularly females, and they're abducted. And if you don't believe that, just get online and just go ahead and Google runners abducted, and you're going to see story after story after story after story. And I'm not doing this to try to scare you or to keep you from doing your exercise, this sort of thing, but there's a great number of joggers out there. According to statistics, 4% feel afraid of running, biking, walking, or hiking alone outdoors. The study's participants were asked how often they feel afraid when they're running, biking, walking, or hiking. Now, 1/3 of the respondents said they were fearful either sometimes or all the time. Another third reported never feeling fear or alone while outdoors, while 37% they did claim that they felt threatened, only rarely. So I think we at least need to share some running safety tips with you folks. I always worry about females who run by themselves, particularly late at night. And so we wanted to come up with some safety tips, and we found some by Lauren Hargrave. And this is what she says. She says, generally speaking, it's safer to run when it's light out as opposed to when it's dark. But there's something that happens to most of us during the daylight, and that is we feel invincible. And this, as we can find in case after case, is just as hazardous as running by yourself at midnight on a poorly lit street. Now, according to one report, 1 in 3 American women will be sexually assaulted in their lifetime, with the abuser usually someone known to that person. If you're wondering what that has to do with running, she goes on to say that these assailants are no longer waiting in the cover of night to strike. They will surprise you in the early hours of the morning during a midday trail run, or abduct you from the streets of your own neighborhood. And she goes on to say, just ask the 5 Bay women area threatened while running on a popular trail, or the woman who jumped off of a cliff in Malibu to escape her attacker, or even Candace who escaped Chelsea King's killer. It can happen, and we do want you to be safe here on Charlie Crime Buster. So we're going to share with you some of the best tried true safety tips from police officers, EMTs, and other safety experts. Are you ready? Take notes if you're a jogger or you know somebody who jogs. This could save their life. Number 1, do not run alone. It's a simple thing, but it works. 2 people are a lot harder to control than 1. Attackers are less likely to strike, and if they do, you've just doubled your chance of survival. Now, she goes on to say, if you don't have someone to run with, get a dog or borrow a dog. Everybody needs to walk their dogs. So not only does this make you a less attractive target, dogs can sometimes sense danger before we can. Boy, that's true. I was out walking my dog one day, and a guy ran up behind me. I'm convinced he was going to mug me, but old Duke, my dog, he saved the day that day. And the dogs can save your day, too. Now, she goes on to say, I thought this was a cute little note. The dog factor only works if your dog's bigger than a bread box. Otherwise, you might even have a small child with you. All right, do not run alone. Number 2, do not run with earphones. Boy, that's going to be hard for some people, because just about everybody I see has something stuck in their ear when they're running. Now, again, of course, this isn't rocket science, folks. When you have loud music blaring in your ears, you can't hear the potential attacker as they come up behind you. Also, will slow your reaction time. So if possible, don't run with headphones. Number 3, alter your route. This tip is not only for those with crazy ex-boyfriends and girlfriends. When you run the same route, the same 2 routes day after day, it makes you an easy target for stalkers. There may be somebody watching you. You may not even know it out there, and they're watching you. So map out new routes. It also could help you. There's even a website, mapmyrun.com, mapmyrun.com, to help you find runs in your area. And number 4, this is just a good safety tip: run against traffic. It's harder for someone to abduct you in a vehicle if you see it coming literally a mile away. It also helps you to prevent traffic-related accidents, especially if you like to run early morning or dusk. Here's a different one that I was pretty amazed with. It's called Sing, S-I-N-G, Sing, S-I-N-G. And the Sandra Bullock movie, Miss Congeniality, you remember her demonstration of self-defense there at the talent show? She said, remember to sing. It stands for 4 vulnerable parts of a person: the solar plexus, the instep, the nose, and the groin. So there you go, sing. Solar plexus, instep, nose, and groin. Both of those are places for you to attack. Says it will tell you to elbow your attacker in the stomach, stomp on their instep, turn and shove the heel of your hand up their nose, then knee their groin. It sounds easier than it is, so you might want to take your little self-defense class to get that down pat. Number 6, and this is a good one: carry runner's mace. Runner's mace. Now, this, of course, it's legal in your area. Once heard an EMT say, of all the assault calls I've ever been on, not one of the victims was carrying mace. Again, you got to be careful to make sure it's legal for you to do it. But runner's mace can be a small can, 3/4 ounce. It is effective up to 8 to 12 feet away, depending on the aim. And that's what you want to do. You don't want to have to defend yourself when they're right up on you. Use mace to keep them off of you. I know that when I was first starting my law enforcement career, there wasn't this thing like stun guns and this sort of thing. And you couldn't zap people, but we could sure mace people. And I've seen many a big man go down by being maced. So bring some mace with you. And understand that. So there's just some tips for you. Tips for running safely, jogging safely. This is Charlie Crimebuster. We have this and a whole lot more right there on the charliecrimebuster.com website. We invite you to join it. If you have any comments, be sure and send us some comments. We would love hearing from you anytime. We appreciate you being a faithful listener to the program. We appreciate you getting the word out. We're getting more listeners every week, and it's great to see this program grow. Thank you again for joining us. Until this time, next time, be safe, for the life you save, it may be your very own.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.